Welcome, folks. I am Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
What's up?
We're both big fans of Squid Game, as are you guys, many of you. I mean, you're watching this video. We've been putting out reactions to other stuff related to Squid Game, breakdowns and whatnot, theories and all that. It seems like you guys have been enjoying that, as we have enjoyed making it. There's one really sore spot in the show that I can't help but talk about, and Pitch Meetings from Screen Rant talked about it. It's the acting from the VIPs and the writing of the VIPs. So as much as I love the show, that's how much I hate the writing and the acting of the VIPs. So there's an article here we got in front of us. This is from koreaboo.com, and there'll be a link in the description below where you can read the whole thing on its own if you'd like. The headline says, the actors who played the VIPs in Squid Game received criticism for their acting skills. Here's what they think the real problem was.
Oh.
So here we go with them passing the buck. Here's before I get into this though, what I want to say is they're wearing gear, they're wearing masks, and for a large part of it, you can't see their mouths, right?
You see their mouths a little bit.
Even if you do, it's a show that has been dubbed in a whole bunch of languages. You can dub them as well.
Yeah.
So you can just dub them, just dub their voices. That's what I would do. Dub them with better actors.
Okay, I see. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you're saying that the director should have dubbed them because they sucked so much.
I'm saying you can dub them now and save the actors the grief. Save them all the hatred that they're getting. I mean, obviously.
I mean, who knows who they are unless like they have their faces up on IMDb. But like,
one guy's got his face completely shown and his whole body because he's naked. Right
okay, yeah, but I don't think anyone who's going after him with hate mail.
You know that somebody is. You know, they have to read these things. Oh my God, these actors are terrible. Like, they have to read it. Those articles can stop happening if they just dub it. Netflix, the newest worldwide phenomenon Squid Game, has definitely taken over. Despite its dark storylines and violent nature, viewers have fallen in love with the nostalgic concept and relatable characters. Yet one aspect of the show that has gained criticism was the characters known as the VIPs. They are the only characters who communicate entirely in English, and they are the mask-wearing billionaires who watch the action from afar while betting on the contestants. Yet many viewers have seen the acting from these VIPs as stilted and mannered. In a recent interview, the actors behind the masks shared their feelings behind the criticism. While Jeffrey Giuliano, is that his name? Giuliano?
Yes.
Giuliano, the only man who removed his mask, was fine with any sort of publicity. It was different for Daniel C. Kennedy, who played the man behind the bull mask. As someone who suffers from depression, he explained that it was hard for him to take first and adjust to the criticism.
Yeah, that sucks.
One of the actors who had more of an opinion on the criticism was John D. Michael, the VIP behind the lion mask, an experienced actor and shines some context on the issue. The first thing that Michael explained was that non-native English speakers translate the English dialogue. Several of the actors also revealed that they weren't context behind the scenes. That's phrased funny.
It's just bad grammar.
Okay, thank you. Revealed that they weren't context behind the scenes and were acting on the information that they were total idiots and dirtbag millionaires. Non-Korean performers often act with dialogue that is translated by non-native, sometimes even by Google Translate, so it sounds unnatural. Often we don't have the scripts for the rest of the show. We are only given our scenes, so we have no idea of the tone.
I can kind of speak on that a little because I had a similar experience, but the other way around, where I was shooting something for a movie here in LA, and they wanted me to be a Thai newsreader. I read the script in Thai, and I was like, this is gobbledygook. It doesn't make sense at all. It sounded like it had gone through Google Translate.
Yeah.
And so I actually reached out to a friend of mine who actually does the news in Thailand because it didn't make any sense at all. And there were a whole bunch of us doing different languages, and we got on the set and spoke to the director that day, and we were just like, this doesn't sound right. Can we kind of adjust the script so that it sounds more natural?
So you got to have that conversation though.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened here. We don't know if they're just getting all the blame for something they had no control over. You know, like, who knows?
Yeah,
like, maybe
yeah.
I do wonder if they tried to make adjustments or if they just went with it. But according to John D. Michael, he didn't have, a sense as to what this was even about. Maybe there was a lot of secrecy around what was happening when they were shooting. Me, after reading all the online hate for the Squid Game VIPs, yeah, he's not so confident now. He's making fun of himself, I guess. There's a new Netflix show out called Squid Game. Maybe you've heard of it. It's gotten pretty popular. Anyway, I'm in it. Here's a fun anecdote from the set. Hey, I have a question about the script. Okay. They show us a scale model of a glass bridge. Yes. Then they show us the actual life-size bridge out a window. That is correct. And my line is, wow, it's bigger. What is your question? I mean, obviously the real bridge is going to be bigger than the model, so my character, he's being sarcastic, right? No, he is actually surprised. Are you sure? Maybe, is it a mistranslation? Like, He's surprised by how big it is, not that it's bigger. Like, should it be, wow, it's so big, or I didn't realize how big it'd be? No, he is comparing the model to the real bridge, and he's surprised that it's bigger.
Okay.
Seriously? Yes. Oh. Okay, so I'm like some kind of malevolent idiot then? Yes, very good. Action. Wow. Roughly 1/3 of the VIP lines were based on jokes, re the number 69. At one point, the director asked me to ad-lib a line. I said, can I distance myself from the guy who keeps making 69 jokes? Maybe ask another VIP something like, how do you know that guy? The director loved it. We were written as cheesy, callous man-children, and I think I pulled it off. But watching the show, there is a distinct difference in tone between the contestants' more soberly intense side of the story and the VIP's featureless boorishness. The distinction was not missed by some reviewers who praised every part of the show except the VIPs, which they loathed. But instead of the writing, it was our acting they tore apart. Like there's a way to drag a 69 joke out for 30 minutes that isn't hammy. The hate cut me deep, but after honest self-evaluation, I decided I did my best. And I've learned my lesson. If there's a season 2 and we're brought back, I'm going to class those 69 jokes up so hard, you'll think I'm Austin Powers as played by Daniel Craig. That means for every joke, my pinky will be fully extended, wink wink. I did criticize the writing about them as well. I don't know if it was you or someone else who was saying like there's only so much you can do with bad writing. Even the best, most talented actors can only do so much with bad writing. If you go back and watch episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars, like there's some horrible writing in there, and you have really good actors who are shining brilliantly otherwise in other stuff, but over here it's like it looks a little weird.
Yeah.
Looking at this, his perspective on this, his defense on why it came out that way. I believe him. Like you had your anecdote of what like you went through and whatnot, and so this makes sense. It's just unfortunate, I guess, because the show is otherwise stellar. It's like, how can you keep a joke like that going for so long? Like the 69 joke, it is pretty bad. And even his confusion with the bridge, I would have probably had the same exchange. Like, so wait, like why is he? Obviously the bridge is bigger. It's the real one. Like, why would he react this way? I feel bad for the guy, because he did try to have a back and forth about this to make sense of the clunky dialogue, and there was only so much he could do.
At some point, you just have to be like, okay, yeah, the writing wasn't great. I did the best that I could do, which is exactly what he said, you know? Like, did you give it your best? Yes. Did it come out really well? No.
When I was watching the VIPs, I'm like, oh God, the show is so good. Are they gonna fuck this up again? Like, oh God, oh, can we just get through this? Oh God, like it's like I feel embarrassed for the show.
It's really hard, especially when you're a foreigner who is working in, you know, another country, and there is this kind of language barrier, and maybe for the team, like the writing team, the director or whatever, it made sense to them when it was executed, or when you know English really well, when it's your mother tongue, it just doesn't really come off that well.
Right.
As actors, you can only do what you can do.
Yeah, you're trying not to create problems.
Exactly.
You know, you want to make them happy, especially as an actor. It's like you just want to make the director happy. There's a lot of weird English, a lot of mistranslations.
Yeah.
You know, you get these signs in, you shop at certain parts of Chinatown and you're like, wait, what's that say? And they put quotes on random shit that doesn't make sense. Like, why would you put quotes on that part of the sentence? You know, it's like I remember being at a Chinese shop in Chinatown, and it said, don't touch the package. And I'm like, why are you quoting that? Like they just didn't want you to. They just didn't want you to touch anything on the display. It didn't make any sense. There's certain Japanese songs where they want to integrate English, and the lyrics they don't make any sense.
Yeah, they sound cool though.
They sound cool. They got T-shirts with the same problem. This happens all the time. And so, as far as the Korean filmmakers go, like they're like, that works. You know, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. That's how that happens. The actors also added that it was a character that needed to be more of an interpretation of what other cultures might envisage in such characters. Due to this, they explained that everything was exaggerated and heightened to ensure that the VIPs were seen as these evil and twisted people. For me, that redeems the at least one of the dudes a little bit. I don't know where a lot of these guys came from. I haven't looked them up. I don't know if they got a lot of them pulled off the street.
I often wonder how directors whose first language isn't English, and maybe whose English isn't that strong, how they go about directing a full movie in English. You know, they must have a team or someone that they trust who can interpret.
Well, they do this on commercial sets, or not commercial sets, but commercial auditions that I've been part of. They'll have a person in the room. It's usually a woman. They'll have a person in the room who is for Spanish commercials.
Yeah.
They'll have a Spanish woman in the room who's like listening to the accent to make sure that the accent matches what the target region, because sometimes you get people who are from like a different kind of Spanish.
Oh yes,
and
yes.
the accent is not matching up at all. And if you put that in a commercial, it's going to be bad. We still have those mistakes today. One of the most noteworthy ones was from Netflix with Narcos, because apparently the guy who plays Pablo Escobar, his accent doesn't actually match up to the accent of the real Pablo Escobar or that region at all. And that was famously like criticized. I'm sure that we have a lot of American films that do this all the time. I think we still have that sin in our filmmaking today, but I think we're trying harder than we used to get it right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the director probably could have benefited from someone on set who was like the English language person, who looked over the script and who was watching the English actors and going, yes, that was it. That was the right tone. That sounded right grammatically and like trying to make sense of it and all that. Yeah, they could have benefited from some of that.
But the show was awesome.
Yes.